75 countries, including Jamaica, they're on visa suspension right now, guys. So no visa, no grant. Yeah, man, they put Jamaica on black line. So all Jamaican where they want to go US, we have to go focus on some different country right now. Trump put us on blacklist for now. Yeah, man, they're on hold.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Asila Reactions. Today we are reacting to some heavy news. Reports are coming out that the US government is pausing visas for a dozen of countries, including Jamaica and other CARICOM nations, starting January 21st, 2026. I will break down what is actually happening and what this means for the affected families. But before we dive in, big thanks to the creators of these videos that I will be reacting to. All credit goes to them. Watch this video until the end, then I'll come back with more reactions.
The US just froze green cards for people from 75 countries indefinitely. That means family and future immigrants can't get permanent residency right now. Effective January 21st, 2026, the US State Department paused issuing immigrant visas from 75 countries. This affects family-based, employment-based, and diversity visas, all routes to permanent residency. They can still interview, but no visas are being printed until a new review of public charge policies is complete. That's not a temporary delay, it's indefinite, meaning no end date's been announced. For millions of families, this means uncertainty. Spouses waiting abroad, they can't join their partners. Workers on track for green cards might be stuck in limbo, and it also hits employers and global mobility planning. The government says this is about public charge, making sure immigrants won't become dependent on benefits, but critics say there's no real evidence this helps anything. So when you hear immigration is being tightened, this is what it actually looks like. Do you think pausing immigrant visa is fair, or does it penalise families and opportunities? Follow for more.
Jamaica is now on the travel ban list. All the 75 countries, they add Jamaica on the travel ban list. Why am I so emotional? Guys, I just got a call. I'm literally getting ready to go live. We just get a call that they add Jamaica on the travel ban list. You know, they've been banning countries like crazy. Now, us Jamaicans are on the list, right? Which we were talking about this morning, but I'm not going at that. No, what you must understand, if you're here in the United States, you're married to your US citizen, you're still going to file your adjustment of status. This don't affect you. If you're here in the US, you're married to a citizen, you go ahead and file your papers. That's not what's going on right now. Who is this going to affect? Your parent, your kids, your spouse in Jamaica who have to go through the consular processing. So persons who have a B1, B2 visa, this not affect you. Still fly in, still go back home. Persons who are being filed for, petition for, meaning your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your child, your spouse who is a citizen or a green card holder who are filed for you while you remain in Jamaica, you will be affected. It's all about the whole public charge rule, where public charge is someone them say, all right, don't come here, take them food stamp, them health insurance, whoever sponsor you, they are the ones who are supposed to foot the bill, not the system here. So they put it on pause until they figure out what they're going to do. So again, if you're here in the United States and you are married to your spouse here in the United States, go ahead and file your adjustment of status same way. But you mommy who's filing for your child back home, you daddy who's filing for your child back home, you husband or wifey who's filing for your husband and wifey back home, your case will be on pause. It will be put to the side. They don't care if you're at the NVC stage now, you upload a document, your document qualify, waiting for an interview. It's just going to put on hold. Now, there are procedures that you must follow, right, to still stay relevant. So if you're at the NVC stage and they open the portal, still go ahead and upload your documents. Guys, we're on the list. They put us on the list. I don't know what else to tell you. We're still, trying to see what's what. But all I can say, persons who are in the country, you can still file for your green card. January 21st. It starts.
The 75 country visa pause. Let's talk about the latest that we know. Number one thing to know is that it is not a ban on all the countries. Just because you are on that visa pause, it does not mean that you can't get a visa. Now, there are some countries that are banned, for example, Afghanistan, but for other countries, let's say Pakistan, you can still get a visa and come to the United States. It's just going to be paused for a period of time. Okay, number two, what does that mean in terms of the I-130 processing or other petitions? You can still file an I-130. Some people called me and said, what's the point? I can't even bring my wife here. It doesn't mean that you can't start a case. So file your I-130, file everything else that you need to start your case. Even if your wife's in Pakistan or another country, start the case, including Afghanistan. Yes, that's right. You can still file an I-130 for your wife in Afghanistan or other countries like Nigeria or Ghana. It doesn't matter. You can still do it. All right, guys. Number three, the visa adjudications overseas may be affected, but the adjustment of status for many of these countries will not be affected. What does that mean? I-485s for clients, we're getting green cards for them, okay? If you're Pakistani, if you're, one of the countries that is on the visa pause but isn't banned, you can still do that, all right? That's really important, okay? Now, number four, this is something that many people don't realize. Just because you have a visa pause or you have an interview and they place you into administrative processing doesn't mean that eventually that you will be able to get a visa, okay? So even if you got some sort of administrative processing 221G notice, let's say you're Pakistani or you're from another country that's on that pause list, including Russia and a couple other big countries as well, like Brazil, you can still get that visa adjudicated later at a date. I do this a lot. I do these mandamus lawsuits, okay? So that's number four. Number five, again, I'm going to say this. This does not affect, non-immigrant visas. F1 students, other visit visas, they're still coming to the United States. Even if you're from a country like Pakistan or Russia and so forth, you can't get an immigrant visa. You can still get an F1 visa. You're from Brazil, you can still get a visit visa. You can still do that, even from the DR and so forth. All right, guys? So don't give up hope. Don't create misinformation or spread false information, whether it's WhatsApp or listening to messages online, guys. Those are the things you need to know. All right? Good luck to everybody.
The Trump administration has just been sued in federal court over a sweeping new visa ban that blocks approvals and green cards from 75 countries. The plaintiffs are not abstractions. They are real people. First, a U.S. citizen from Long Island separated from his wife and newborn daughter. His wife was denied her immigrant visa, that's her lawful residence, at the interview. And their infant daughter, who has Turner syndrome, is now stuck abroad without access to proper medical care, all because of this ban. Second, a U.S. citizen in Rochester separated from his 2 teenage children, even though those visas were approved and fully paid for. And had those children entered the United States with those visas, they would become automatic U.S. citizens. Third, a Colombian doctor and endocrinologist who was supposed to continue cancer research at Harvard Medical School, now barred from entering the United States with his lawful permanent residence. These are legal immigrant visa cases, not illegal border crossings. And the government claims this ban is about public charge, meaning concern that immigrants will rely on welfare. In 2019, the Trump administration tried to radically expand the public charge rule to include benefits like Medicaid and food stamps. 5 different federal courts blocked it because the rule was found unlawful. Congress has never authorized blanket bans, wealth tests, or nationality-based assumptions about who may need welfare. That is why this ban is legally different from the Muslim ban. The Muslim ban was framed as national security, but this one is framed as economics, and it's still based on where you're from, what you look like, and not individually based. And take a look at the list. More than 85% of the banned countries are non-European, non-white. So is this really about welfare, or is this ethnic profiling disguised as policy, disguised to choke off legal immigration from countries that don't fit a preferred image?
Hi everybody, just wanted to give you this update as this news is just coming in and it will affect us here in Jamaica. The US State Department, they have announced the pause of visa processing from 75 countries, including Jamaica. As a matter of fact, all of the CARICOM countries except for Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago will be affected by this freeze. The department memo was first reported by Fox News, and a U.S. official has confirmed the countries listed by Fox, 75 countries, all CARICOM countries except for Guyana and Trinidad, which means Jamaica we are on that list. Other countries on the list would include countries that already had little chance of getting a visa, like Afghanistan, Iran, Russia, and Somalia, but then it comes as a shock to countries like Brazil. Now, the department did not immediately clarify if non-immigrant visas, and that's visas for tourism and business, would be affected. So we're trying to get clarification on that to see whether persons who are seeking a non-immigrant visa for tourism or business, if they'll be affected. But for immigrant visas, Jamaica will definitely be affected by this pause. Now, the pause goes into effect on January 21. Of course, Radio Jamaica News is going to give you all the deets, and when I have that additional information, I'll post another video to give you that update. Okay, until then, my dear.
Hey guys, so I'm here to provide some clarity because the news broke this morning and some of it is partially true and some is not. So everywhere there have been posted that US has suspended visas from 75 countries and Jamaica is one of them. They have not suspended visas, they've suspended immigrant visa applications. Immigrant visas means that you plan to live in the US. So these visas are such as fiancé visa and permanent residency visas, not tourist visa and not business visa. So if you have an interview for a regular tourist visa, you can proceed as usual. Yes, we don't want to hear this news, of course, because people want to immigrate to the US for whatever reason, to live with their family or their spouse or their children, or people are applying for their children to come and live with them. So I just want to clarify, it is immigrant visas only, not all visas, because there's a lot of partial or misinformation going around. So if you plan to apply for a regular visitor's visa, you can proceed as.
Welcome back, guys. Now that you have watched the videos, let's talk about the why. The government is calling this a pause to prevent people from becoming a public charge. For those who don't know, a public charge is a legal term for someone who is likely to become primarily dependent on the government for subsistence. But here's the kicker. Under the current US law, most immigrants are not even eligible for federal benefits like SNAP or Medicaid for the first 5 years anyway. So why the blanket freeze? The administration is essentially saying that they don't trust the current vetting system to catch who might be struggling financially. They are moving away from looking at you as an individual, your bank account, your job, your offer, your sponsor, and they are looking at your nationality instead. If you are from one of the 75 listed countries, including Jamaica, the Bahamas, or Haiti, the assumption is now high risk until proven otherwise. In short, they are assuming that you are a high risk person. Interestingly, countries like Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, and Suriname were excluded, which shows there is a bit of diplomatic chess, a diplomatic chess game happening behind the scenes. For the Jamaican diaspora, this is a massive blow. We have one of the strongest work ethics in the world, and yet the narrative being used for this to pause is that immigrants are a burden on the welfare system. Research actually shows that immigrants from these regions often fill critical gaps in the US. These workplaces like healthcare, services sectors, that's where we have most people working. In fact, people from these 75 countries make up nearly 10% of the US healthcare workforce. By posing these visas, the US is not just stopping families. They might be accidentally sabotaging their own hospitals and clinics. If you have a pending case, listen closely. This is an indefinite pause. There is no expiration date on this policy yet. Non-immigrant visas like B1, B2 tourist visas or the F1 student visa are technically still being processed. However, expect the public charge questioning to get way more intense. If you are going in for a tourist visa interview, I think you better have your bank statement and proof of ties to your home country ready, because they are looking at everyone's finances with a magnifying glass light now. So where do we go from here? If you are caught in this freeze, please do not panic and try to enter the US illegally, because that will ban you for life. Instead, use this time to strengthen your financial profile. If you have a joint sponsor in the US, make sure their taxes are 100% in order. The moment this review ends, the bar for financial self-sufficiency is going to be much higher than it was in 2025. This feels like a dark time for the illegal immigration, but knowledge is power. We are going to keep watching the courts, because you can bet there will be legal challenges to this. If you are watching this and your heart is sinking because your interview was scheduled for next month, here is a strategy that I think could work. Don't cancel your interview. If they had offered you a date, go. Get your approved status on record, even if your visa is not printed yet. You want to be the first in line the moment this pause is lifted. Also, over-prepare your finances. The new 2026 standard for the self-sufficiency is much higher. You are supposed to bring 12 months of bank statements, not just 3. If your US sponsor has a shaky tax history, find a joint sponsor now. This pause is a blow to the Jamaican diaspora and beyond, but it is not the end of the road. We are already seeing legal challenges being filed in the DC to stop this nationality-based ban. Courts will eventually have a say, but for now, we have to play the long game. What's your take? Do you think the US has a right to pause the legal immigration to protect the welfare of the system? Or is this an unfair attack on specific nations? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Stay strong and I'll see you on the next update.